Welcome back. It's Sabrina Huck of Ritual by Design. I am happy to be here with you all. This is part 2 of a 3-part series where I teach you how to create a floral henna design. In this part, we will be doing examples of flowers. These are flowers that you can add into your own unique floral motifs. If you want to download the worksheet that I'm using, you can do that by clicking the link in the description section. All right, let's get started. All right, let's get started. So we're doing a simple circle and we're going to fill it in. This is a great way to get a good stain, starting from the center and doing a thick part in the center. What's nice about doing a filled in circle is you can go back around a few times, make sure that it's perfectly symmetrical and looking good. We're going to do a simple outline and little humps. The humps add an ornate element and really make it look just more delicate. Humps and humps and humps. From here we'll do the petal shape. So the petal shape is going to be what I call the temple shape. We do one above, below, side to side. And if they don't look absolutely even, you can go back and just add a thicker layer around it, make it a little bit of a thicker line. And that's gonna help you just balance each of the petals so that they look more uniform. And from here, you can add some petals behind. Gives it a foreshadow look. I love it. And then we'll add our shading. For shading, you start by doing very light lines and you're dragging the cone as you do these lines. And you're pressing the cone just a little bit to get the tiniest amount of henna coming out. All right, so this next one we'll do a similar circle, but instead of filling it, we're going to keep it open. And we'll do a light outline around. Now you can go back and sort of adjust your inside circle if you need. Time for the little humps. Doing the humps are quite meditative for me. I tend to sort of zone out and yeah, it's like a slight movement and a rhythm to it. So So in this flower, we'll do 2 layers. More humps. And just move. Once you get into the rhythm, it gets easier. And for these petals, we are doing smaller petals. They're a little bit longer, and the edges are a little bit thicker. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can do this by creating a simple one and then adding more, or you just squeeze a little more when you get to the top of the petal. Try to keep it as consistent as possible. And it's going to be looking really nice and uniform. Yeah, I love that. All right, here's our next one. So for this one, we'll do a smaller circle in the center. And yes, the outline. Here we go. We'll do 2 outlines. As you do more outlines, it gets a little bit more challenging, but that's why I started with the smaller center, so it's less to work around. More humps. All right, these petals are a little bit more square shape and a little bit bigger. The top of the petal is a bit thicker than the inside part. And now we're going to just go back and add a little bit extra to the tops of them. Sort of balance it out. Now each petal may not be perfect, but during this stage of design, you can go back and just sort of round it out, clean it up, and make it look more balanced and even. You know, it's not easy to always make it perfect each time, but there's little things that you can do to adjust and kind of give the illusion of. And we're going to do the shading inside. These are very light lines. I'm squeezing very little, and what I'm doing is I'm dragging the cone. Dragging and then just pulling it away from the paper as I get to the edges of the petal. If you're having problems, try slowing down, doing each little shading part separately. All right, 3 to go. 3 done, 6 to go. Hope you're having fun. All right, this is one of my favorites, the lotus. The lotus is a symbol of purity. It's a symbol of rebirth. It emerges from murky waters and blossoms in these murky waters. beauty through adversity. So you start with the teardrop shape, and then the other shapes, other petals, are sort of resting on top of each other. Once you get this foundation down, then you're going to do the bottom petals. And the lotus is sitting. It's sort of sitting, so you want to make the bottom petals a little bit more flat. Once we have that, we're going to do the back petals, just sort of peeking from the flower. This gives it more depth. And from here, we'll just do our shading. As you can see, the shading kind of goes in the curve of the lotus flower. I follow the curve when I do the shading. Oh, that looks lovely. Lotus is a great symbol. People are really attracted to it. It's something, if you have design sheets, definitely add it in. All right, the next one, we're doing a small circle, filling it in. And this is just a unique flower that I came up with. You may or may not see this in henna design. And we're doing the temple-shaped flower, temple-shaped leaves. Now these leaves are sort of floating. They're not touching the inner line, so this is really good practice for you with your spatial recognition and being able to just know where to place each piece. Now we're going to go back and do the shading. Yes, and then from here we're going to do like we've done in previous, and we're going to add the thick part on the edges and the tips of the flower. Don't you see how it makes it look so much better by doing this? It makes it pop. We want to make our flowers pop. All right, let's keep moving. Here we go. Next one, we're doing a swirl. So I start with a small dot and then I just swirl it around, making sure that my space between each swirl is consistent. And what do you know? More humps. So I'm pausing in between, and when I'm pausing in between, I'm wiping the tip of my cone with a cloth that I have in my left hand. If you can keep a cloth in your left hand, this is going to make sure that your design is nice and clean when you're applying it. So these are the more organic leaf petals. They're quick to do. They're quick to do, and because they aren't so symmetrical, you can sort of have a bit more, you can be a little bit more loose with it. Now I'm doing this interesting shading line, and I'm pulling it. It's thick at the top and thinner on the bottom. And if you do each petal the same, it's going to give it this look where it's sort of just more dynamic. And the shading. This is a great design to do in any of your floral designs. I see myself doing this a lot on pregnant bellies. It's just soft and playful. All right, 6 down, 3 more to go. Here we go. And for this one, we're doing another swirl. It's your time to practice. Start in the center and then move your way around. All right, this is the rose. This can feel really complicated, but you can do it, I promise. You're starting with a thick in the middle, and then you're pulling the sides of this shape. Now the petals rest on top of each other, so once you get the center, then you want to pull the other sides around and over the part that you've already laid out. Do you see how they sort of overlap? Now where they overlap, you're going to do another layer. So I started with the thick and then I'm pulling it around. And you'll do the same. You see how it sort of rests on top of the design before? Same thing. Oh my God, it looks incredible. I love doing this design because it's so thick. It gives a very nice color. And it just stands out. It's so dynamic and strong. Your paste needs to be perfect to do these roses. It can't be very runny. It needs to be a little bit thicker so that your lines don't bleed together. Right, we'll start with another swirl. Do another outline. And we're doing some bigger petals here. They're a little bit wider and shorter, and we'll fill them in. This one you'll see in traditional bridal. Even if you keep it just like this little flower is just so cute, isn't it? Or you can add more. Now this is the same shape that we used for our roses, if you can tell. So it's thick and then it gets a little bit thinner as you pull the edges. So this is a great time to practice that same petal as we did for the rose. Even if we just did that, it looks so good. But we're going to do one more layer. I'm really excited to see what you all create with these. Once you get these foundational shapes, you can really go anywhere and do anything with it. Add a bit of lace, add your own touch, add some paisleys. This is just the foundation. I want you guys to learn these different types of flowers, and then you can really be creative. And there we are. Look at that. It's almost like hypnotizing the way you look at it with the different layers. It brings you right into the center. Start with a circle. We'll keep it open this time. Outline around. And these are those unique petals that have good movement, and they're very dynamic. One side is flat and the other is round. Oh, I love this flower. We're making it a bit of a thicker outline. Once you get it laid out, that's when you can add more to just refine it. I love the movement on this. It looks like it's just swirling, doesn't it? We're doing a thin outline inside, or inline, outline, I don't know what it's called. Thin inner line. I do this a lot with my flowers. It just makes it look a little bit different than others. You may not see this in nature, but you know, these flowers are meant to be a bit abstract. Henna flowers. Just a little bit of shading. Look at that. We did it. And there you are, my friends. That's all the flowers. Okay. I hope you enjoyed constructing these flowers with me. And for the next class, we're going to take these flowers and what we learned in the first class, which was the centers, the petals, and the vines, and we're going to combine all of that so that you can create a complete floral design. Who's ready? Awesome. So go ahead and like and subscribe so you don't miss a video, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. Okay, till next time. Bye.